What's up, guys, and welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. I'm Hassan. That is Dan. We're going to talk to you about the 2 episodes of Young Justice. Sorry we didn't get an upload out. I was away with Benny in the middle of Disneyland, and Dan was hard at work as he always is.
Totally. It's just more that you guys don't want to hear just me talking to myself, because then I got to go to like the hospital, and
right.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, we had 2 amazing episodes. Last time we left off on Razor's Edge. We got to see the return of a Green Lantern the Animated Series character. I'm 5 episodes into that show, and I actually have been really enjoying it.
So good, right?
It's
and it only
incredible.
gets better. It only gets better.
I'm loving it, and I'm sad that it was canceled. But hey, we got to relive it in Young Justice, because and that was an incredible plot point. We pick up immediately into the episode Forbidden Secrets in Civilizations Past, where we kind of have a recap episode from 2 perspectives, both Lord Zod's perspective as well as the Legion of Superheroes telling Bart what has happened. So we finally get all the answers. Who is everybody? Who are the players? Lord Zod is the son of Drew and Ursa Zod from years and years ago when Krypton was destroyed. The Phantom Zone portal was also destroyed, and usually in comics, you're in the Phantom Zone, you're supposed to be in prison for life, but in a more humane way, the Young Justice universe is like the Phantom Zone is a jail. Obviously, you serve a time, and then you are free. But because of the destruction of Krypton, General Zod and all of the other Kryptonians that were in prison stayed in prison for hundreds and hundreds of years until they were inevitably freed, and the world ruled that like they needed to be freed. They were then put onto Daxam, a planet with a red sun, and of course, he's Zod, so he pulls some evil shit. Oh, and during the Phantom Zone, he happened to be pregnant with their son, Lord Zod. Yep. So they do some stuff, they get their powers, they get re-imprisoned in the Phantom Zone, and so Lord Zod took a time sphere to go back in time to save his parents now.
Well, and then to throw in there as well, Lord Zod did not get sent back because the Legion of Superheroes decided that he had done nothing wrong because he wasn't even born yet and was born in the Phantom Zone, and that's why he was excluded from getting re-imprisoned.
Yeah, and he wasn't born in the Phantom Zone. He was born right after. She was pregnant the entire time, which is crazy. She was pregnant for hundreds of years, essentially.
Insane.
Which is absurd. But we hear his perspective that he's fighting to bring back his father and his mother, and then we hear the Legion's perspective of they... Actually, when we the closing of last season, we see Superboy addressing the UN and saying, "I am the Superboy, a clone through illegal cloning in the world," and he became a public hero in that moment. Lord Zod was outside trying to kill him, and the Legion stopped him. But then he went further back in time, and now we're in the situation that we're in. Also, when he initially left the future, all of the Legionnaires were soaked by chronotron radiation, so that's why that they remain consistent the same way Bart remains consistent in the timeline. Even though things are changing, they will always be present. They're part of the new reality. And it was an incredible episode, a lot of anthology, a lot of history, and then we, at the same time, we are continuing the storylines of they're having a treaty meeting, and Lord Zod and the King Bug, I don't know what his name is, and Ma'ala Fa'ak are trying to...
Scarab?
Yeah.
No.
Bug. I think it's just
Beetle?
Bug. Beetle? Maybe it's Beetle Bug? I don't know.
Mantis.
Mantis. Yeah, it's Mantis. You're great.
I just had to start naming different bugs, and eventually we got there.
Yeah, so they are inside of Mobius's vault, and it's actually a really cool time travel episode because they keep going back into basically what happened the day before in the episode before. So Razor does make another appearance, but it's a clip from last episode where he beats the shit out of Metron, because Metron's an asshole, and he flies back in to his realm, and when that happens, Lord Zod beats the ever-loving hell out of him. It was actually terrible to watch, and then he has his murder box torture him for a little bit, and then Metron does his usual thing, and he opens a box of kryptonite. He puts a Sun Eater on them. They manage to escape and go back in time, but now the stories have converged, and we have Rocket's team with Orion and the Green Lanterns trying to fight them. Cut to the next episode, and was the Beast Boy B-plot happening in episode? I don't remember. I don't know if they closed it up before or after this. Hold on.
I don't know, but I know that it was a big part in one of them.
It was. You're right. It was. It was this episode. So another thing that happened in this episode, and sorry guys, I did watch this like 2 weeks ago. Beast Boy he finally has that therapy session with Black Canary that we've been waiting on. And she does this incredible thing where she's checking a list. It seems like she's checkboxing a list while asking questions. She's just writing checks on a blank piece of paper because she's just letting him lie and letting him deceive people. And then he breaks. And I cried when I watched this scene because it was such an impactful moment. Beast Boy, for his entire life, has blamed himself for the death of everyone he loves around him. He blamed himself for the death of his mom, for the death of Doom Patrol, for the death of Wally, for the turning of Brion of Markov, and now for the death of Connor Kent. And he's been holding on to that this whole time. And at the end of this amazing therapy session, he finally just says, like, Dinah, I need help. And it was a moment, like, I cried. I legitimately cried. I don't know how'd you feel about it, man?
It definitely was a very emotional scene where you can very much, like, at first I was like, he's not going to actually get out of this. Like, he's not going to trick Dinah. Like, that's going to, and like, just the progression of that entire scene was probably the most realistic thing I've ever seen when it comes to like therapy and lying to yourself, and how you can't always lie to yourself. The truth is there. You may not realize it, but it's going to eat you alive, basically. And I loved that, like, even like he's even going through those things and he's like, I should have stopped Queen Bee, and Dinah's just like, the entire
9.
Justice League has not stopped Queen Bee. You were 9. Like, what? And it was a very, very, intense episode, and an intense portion of that episode, for sure.
Can you imagine getting the most true to form therapy scene we've ever seen on television in a fucking superhero show? An animated superhero cartoon, and the fact that this show isn't getting renewed is criminal, and I'm going to point that out again because we're about to have our last 4 episodes of Young Justice maybe ever, which is
I mean, it wouldn't be a Young Justice review if you didn't call for it to be renewed. So,
it's part of my mantra. I'm also just now reading Lord Zod is voiced by the amazing Phil Morris, which I did not pick up on. Which is so great because he was in Smallville. He played the live action Martian Manhunter. In Doom Patrol, he played Silas Stone, Vic Stone's dad. He's been in everything for so long.
Okay, yeah, he is that. Now that you've said the Silas Stone, I can okay.
And Metron is the amazing Phil Lamar, which we know him from like any number of amazing
Futurama.
things. That's
he's good old Hermes.
But moving on to the next episode. It is the bombastic finale of Rocket's thing. And I think if you watched this on a binge, you would have loved it because they stuck that landing so well. That like there have been moments where this has been dragging and the feats, it's been like, are we really doing this one? Oh, no, not this again. But it stuck the landing so well with some of the most amazing action that's been on this season, as well as heart-wrenching storytelling. And just like, if you're a DC Comics fan, it's amazing. There's always the question of like, why doesn't this superhero who shows great willpower get this ring? Whatever. Like, I don't get it. In this one, you see a character show commendable will, and the moment a Green Lantern ring is available, it goes directly to them. But we'll do the quickie summary of this episode too, because I'll do this as quick as possible. It immediately picks up. They're chasing Metron, or not Metron, and them are chasing Lord-Zod and the Bug. Mantis takes Ma'alefa'ak, Lord-Zod and them, and they have the Phantom Zone projector, but they need to charge it. So they have Highfather and the rest of the New Genesians guarding New Genesis, but they know there are like natural pockets of energy too. So they go to one, and Lord-Zod is there charging up the Phantom Zone projector, and an all-out battle ensues. The teams are split up. Kilowog, as well as what is it? The Forever People guy. I always forget his name. Bear is one of them, and I love him, but I always forget the other guy's name.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're off.
I called him the Future Foundation last time. I'm not going to remember the name.
So they're off searching one pocket while the other one's, but because of the high energy output, Mother Box is not functioning, so they can't radio for backup. Tomar Ray plus Forager, Rocket, and Orion are there. And
Forager and Forager,
and an amazing battle ensues. And Jay Garrick Flash, which is also, he's so fun in this show, and he's so realistic, and I love everything about it. But you have the awakening of a Promethean, which is not something I was aware of. Apparently, it's like a big old school DC Comics thing. And Tomar-Ray sacrifices himself valiantly, as Tomar-Ray is known to do, and he dies. He literally dies. Joe Lord-Zod kills him, but Tomar-Ray saves New Genesis because he failed to save Krypton, and it was a really beautiful, impactful moment. And in that moment, the Green Lantern ring goes towards to the Foragers, who are both being attacked by what was Lord-Zod's evil box. I can't remember what it's called.
I think it's the Father Box.
No, Father Box has been in it, but it had like its own specific name.
It's
something.
It's a super evil Lord-Zod Mother Box thing.
Yeah. Whatever it was, super, super evil little boxes. They do such a good job of making you understand the emotions of these boxes by their dings. Like, boom. Oh, that's a Father Box to boom, boom. Mother Box, you're a good guy. I love the show's sound design. They're torturing the two bugs, but through their great will, Forager female manages to stick her hand outside of it, and the Lantern Ring takes it, and she does the oath. And I love her oath because they talk about how the Forager, like their people, have an incredible sense of self. And instead of saying like my power, it was like Forager's power. Like it was the first time it's ever been different than the normal Green Lantern oath. And then is a badass as a new Green Lantern. Originally, Forager agrees to move to Earth with Forager so they can be together. But they're going to do long distance because she needs to go train to be a Green Lantern. We recreate the iconic Superman dead body pose, Kilowog holding Tomar-Ray's corpse. And you get the resolution of Ma'alfa Ak fighting Rocket and Orion. And you get them to finally, they see each other. And Orion's literally stops Rocket at the end of the episode, and this really got to me, where he was just like, thank you, friend Rocket, for seeing me. And then she goes home and finally makes right with her son, and that's the A plot. The B plot was Zatanna putting on the helmet of fate, wearing out Naboo so they can use the power of all the mystics, all the powerful good Justice League mystics in the world, to try and find Connor's spirit, and they can't find it. And she goes, I don't need magic, I need a detective. So that teases up for the Nightwing story arc. And it just kind of touch on it. Also, wait, I missed this. The Phantom Zone projector did open.
Yeah, you missed a key part of this.
Chunk. Like the Lord-Zod does get the Phantom Zone projector open before it gets destroyed. And in it, Drew-Zod is flying up, and Superboy, insane, is grabbing his leg like, no, I'll save you from this. He goes, you fool. No, I want to leave. I want to go to the corporeal world, whatever. And it doesn't work out. But in that moment, Saturn Girl senses Superboy and Phantom Girl, wakes up Phantom Girl, but they destroy the projector. So we're going to see how they get him out of that world. But now Phantom Girl is awake, and they are still in the Phantom Zone, but now stories are going to converge. We know who's alive. Lord-Zod takes Saturn Girl prisoner at the end of the episode, and they leave.
And it's also the... Drew-Zod learns that Superboy was not imprisoned there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was a key part, because that's going to imply that they will be able to leave the Phantom Zone without the Phantom Zone projector if someone's able to arrive without the Phantom Zone projector. And I have a feeling they'll manipulate Phantom Girl in some way for that. I
didn't even think of that. That's going to be so interesting, and I can't wait for it to play out. As always, this show knows how to tug on our heartstrings, but not in a stupid, let me set up a sentence that I know is going to make you cry. They do it in a way of like, we've been with Beast Boy for 10 years. I've been with Beast Boy for 10 years. I've watched him from a kid voiced by a whole different guy to this guy voiced by the OG Beast Boy, but doing like this deeper, more like angry, real life version of these characters. And I'm excited that we didn't meander on Connor Kent being dead for too long. I like that some characters are still facing the reality of his death, but also he's alive, and we know he's alive, and we're going to be getting him back, and I'm excited about it. IMDb rated this a 9.0 out of 10. I think that's fair. I think this is like a nearly perfect episode to a nearly perfect show, in my opinion, and I'm glad we got it. What are your ending thoughts on this, Dan?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought the episodes were great. It's always funny how... whenever we do the recaps for this, the show does a great job of giving you so much in such a short period of time without you really realizing you're getting that much. Because like I did not truly feel overwhelmed, but when you list off everything, I'm like, oh, that's right. That did happen. That did happen as well. But this also it's a 20-minute show, like or 25 or whatever.
This is the shortest we've ever gotten in a review, and that's because I was deliberately leaving stuff out because I was like, we just filmed 7 videos back to back to back, and both of us need a moment. But also, I know the Nightwing arc is coming, so you can expect from me at least 40-minute episodes on every episode of that because I love me some Richard Grayson.
I'm super excited about that. This entire arc has set up so many different things as well that could come back at later, mostly related to both New Genesis and the Green Lantern Corps. And I really like that they have kind of sown those seeds so that later on we can get Forager Green Lantern to show up and it not be like wait, what the hell? Yeah. Or a red and blue Razor to show up and help out with something. Because I have a very strong feeling. I feel like Razor and Lord Zod are very, very similar. Lord Zod gives off a lot of
old school
feelings
Razor,
like original Razor, and I think that he might show up to help in some way with that.
Yeah.
This show's just fantastic. Honestly, this is one of the ones that I am actually excited to watch for the review shows as opposed to the Flash where I'm like, oh, I've got to watch this. Young Justice, I honestly just every time like, yes, I get to watch Young Justice. Let's do this review show.
I'm so excited for the show to end too. Like the season, not the show to end.
I was gonna say, gee, what the hell?
I want this season to end. Show? I want to rewatch the whole thing in a binge. I want to. I was actually just thinking that.
Just thinking that. I wonder how different our views on the show will be in a binge format as opposed to the weekly. When you get that long break between things, because I feel like there is a lot that the emotions simmer, like your emotions for certain situations kind of calm down a little bit. And I feel like in a binge, it could just be so much more like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I'm with it. I have a friend who he's my roommate. He just moved in. He hasn't seen Young Justice yet, but he made a promise to me that when he moves into my home, he will watch it with me.
How are you friends with anyone that has not seen Young Justice?
He's the king weeb, so he puts me on every anime and he's keeping up with everything. So I give him a pass on that.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm excited to see his take on this season because he will have seen it in a binge because I don't think he'll get to it for a couple more weeks. And by then the show will be done.
The original Young Justice?
Nope. So we're gonna go through.
Nothing.
I'm having.
Okay.
I might even, if Benny lets me do a whole Young Justice retrospective around when I'm watching that, and I'll just go through each season or do a condensed video on each season kind of thing. But if Ben allows it, I'll do it because you guys know I love talking Young Justice. If I wasn't as completely tired as I am right now, I probably would have made this episode much longer. But this episode is incredible, and I know the fans of both our reviews of it and the show itself have been just loving every second of it, and so are we. # Renew Young Justice. Do whatever we can. We'll see. The reason we got the show back in the first place is because people kept binging it. So I don't know, man. When you're doing your homework, put it on in the background. Just put it on as much as you can. Let HBO Max see those numbers, and that when we search the word young on their platform, Young Justice should come first, not Young Sheldon. I've had it with that. Every time I type young, it's Sheldon first. But
I will say this, and this is going to be a downside to the binge format, because I actually watched the past 2 episodes together. The autoplay cuts off those credits monologues.
It does.
It kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I was like in it, and then it skipped to the. I'm like, no, go back to the other episode. I want to hear. I want to hear
Shakespearean Forager.
Yeah,
Forager doing Shakespeare in the park with Forager. I love that.
Yeah, that part got cut off for me, and I was like, no, and I had to go back, click it. It was the whole thing. But
yeah, guys.
Show.
Young Justice is amazing. We're going to do what we can in our little corner of the internet to campaign for it to keep going. I know I'm going to use whatever power I have, which is not a lot. But I'll do it because this show's worth it. This show has, the voice cast. I listed 2 names. I listed Phil Lamar and Phil Morris, and it's just like, they're in this show. Nightwing is Jesse McCartney, which if you're not a young man who remembers when he was...
Whoa, what?
Did you not know this?
I did not know. Oh my gosh.
Dick Grayson has been Jesse McCartney for a decade.
Oh my gosh.
And if
that
you're a
is
Kingdom Hearts fan,
insane.
Roxas is also voiced by Jesse McCartney. So if you play that game or watch the show, you can picture either characters interchangeably being each other because they're both kind of like, they have their stoic moments, but they're funny. Yep.
And here I am like, oh yeah, I remember when Jesse McCartney was like a solo singer.
Yeah, he was literally a pop star when we were kids.
Yeah.
Now he's an amazing VA. I think Dick Grayson gives one of my favorite performances on this show.
Wow, my respect has... Go you, Jesse.
Yep.
All right. Well,
yeah.
damn.
Go back and listen to it now. You'll feel it. You'll notice it. You'll recognize it immediately. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Well, guys, these episodes have left us fairly whelmed. We're feeling the Aster, and we're ready to crash the mode on the next one in this next arc. Yeah, dude, I can do that too. I use them in my normal day-to-day language. I'm not lying.
You're whelmed?
I say whelmed. Yeah, I'm not overwhelmed or underwhelmed. I'm whelmed. It's good. I feel whelmed. I feel the Aster, So, but all right, guys, I'm Hassan. That's Dan. We've been absolutely Marvel and DC, and we'll see you next week with our next episode review of Young Justice Phantom's The Nightwing arc.
Indeed. Catch you next time.